Welcome into the Solo Shot Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Manna. Happy Solo Shot Saturday, everyone. From the ETV Community Media Center here on the last day of May, the 31st, 2025, the year of our Lord. And last night, Yankees-Dodgers, the headline series of the weekend, kicked off on Apple TV. We love that. It's hard enough to watch your team as is on TV, but now streaming rights for a big game like that a lot of people want to watch, Apple TV. MLB did something, and they do this every once in a while, where they allow you to watch the first inning for free. They did it for the Rickwood Classic. They did it for this. And I tuned in on Twitter to the first inning of the game, just saying, hey, I get to watch both Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani bat in this rematch of the 2024 World Series. Well, Aaron Judge, home run, dead center field off of Tony Gonsolin. Shohei Ohtani matches him in the first inning off of Max Fried, who's been nasty this year. Lefty on lefty violence, his first of two solo shot home runs, Shohei Ohtani, in the game. It is just such an honor. It is such a privilege. That is what the name of this episode is, that we get to watch these two hitters. Arguably the greatest right-handed and left-handed hitters that I've seen. They're very much up there with the Albert Pujols and Barry Bonds of the world in terms of just greatness. And it is just awesome that both of those guys, one inning of subscription-free baseball for the people, for the everyday working man, got to watch Judge and Ohtani both go yard. That's special. And that's exactly the kind of box office stuff that we were hoping to see in the Fall Classic last year with the meeting of the two best hitters in the sport. But we got it last night, 4 inning free on Twitter. Thank you, Major League Baseball. Please make it easier for fans to catch stuff like that live. Please. Aaron Judge on this young season, he's struggling. He's under 400 for the batting average now, but still a really respectable hitter in the sport that I don't think gets enough love for how dominant his stretch has been. Already in 2025, he has 4.3 WAR. Already. That's what a lot of guys have for a full season. In 212 at-bats, he has 4.3 WAR. 19 home runs, batting .392. It's unreal. He leads Major League Baseball with 52 runs scored. He's on pace to do that for the third time in his career. He leads Major League Baseball with 83 hits in, like I said, 212 at-bats. 15 doubles, 2 triples for the big man, which is 1 away from his career high. 19 home runs, 48 runs driven in, 4 stolen bases, 38 walks to 55 strikeouts. He's led the league in walks 3 times already in his career, on pace to potentially do it again in the American League. And his batting average, .392, leads all of baseball. .486 leads all of baseball. .750 slugging, .1236 OPS. Good for a clean .245 OPS plus. And you're like, well, he can't keep up a .245 OPS plus for the whole season. 2 of the last 3 years, he's had a .210 and a .225. So he can very well be past 200 on the OPS plus scale. Already has 159 total bases and has been walked 12 times, which leads the majors. Well on pace for his 3rd MVP award in 4 years. He is insane. And I'm saying this wearing an Albert Pujols shirt. I gave Albert Pujols his flowers during the quarter century team last year. I think he was the easiest decision for everyone to make, was Albert Pujols at first base. The greatest player I've ever watched, the greatest right-handed hitter I ever watched. Aaron Judge is starting to nip at his heels. He is pushing that extreme to be that guy and really make it a conversation when it's all said and done that Aaron Judge, obviously a Hall of Famer on pace, where does he rank in terms of right-handed hitters in the history of the game? It's going to be pretty high when it's all said and done. Shohei Ohtani, on the other hand, he is just a DH, no big deal. 3 WAR so far on the season, not playing any defense. 65 hits, 22 home runs, 294 batting average in 221 at-bats because he is laid off and Judge hits second. 61 runs leads Major League Baseball. 22 home runs leads Major League Baseball. His 670 slugging, right up there with Judge. 148 total bases already this season, as well as 11 stolen bases. So he's on pace for another potential 50-50 season. I threw out this stat that no one likes to talk about, that everyone who's ever been 40-40 in the major leagues has never done it again. And Ronald Acuna Jr. had the ACL tear, Jose Canseco, all these guys never did it again. Alfonso Soriano. Shohei Ohtani has the potential to do it again. And the crazy part is he's throwing live BPs now against hitters. He's going to pitch baseball games this year, and he still has the opportunity to throw at a high level for a Dodgers rotation that clearly needs them and be a 40-40 hitter for back-to-back years. That's just crazy. We are not worthy. Shohei Ohtani is the player that you are most likely to tell your kids and grandkids about, that they're most likely to be like, you got to see him play. And hopefully that's not just on TV and on Twitter highlights. Hopefully when the Dodgers come to town, you are making a trip, because it's just unreal to watch him. I know a lot of people are giving me flack about putting David Ortiz over him for the quarter century team. You could totally make the argument for Shohei Ohtani in terms of peak. He has the greatest DH season of all time. But from the last 25 years, David Ortiz's body of work was, I think, enough in terms of winning and statistics for me to put him ahead of what Shohei has done up to this point. But when it's all said and done, Shohei Ohtani is probably going to make his stamp as the greatest designated hitter ever. And that's coming from a huge Red Sox fan, a huge David Ortiz fan. These are two players that are incredible to watch and are a huge reason why the game has been growing the last couple of years is guys like this in the biggest markets playing at a historic level. Point blank, period. Talking about playing the game at the highest level, Tarik Skubal is making his bid for the best pitcher in the sport. Paul Skeens has really taken the league by storm. Zach Wheeler has been fantastic the last handful of years. Tarik Skubal this year, 5-2, 2.2 WAR, 2.49 ERA. Doesn't scream insanity, but when you look at his most recent start against Cleveland, first shutout of his career, 9 innings pitched, 2 hits, 13 strikeouts, 0 walks. 94 pitches. He threw a Maddox, a complete game shutout, under 100 pitches thrown. But he did it with 13 strikeouts, more than Maddox has ever done in one. He did it with throwing over 100 miles per hour in the 9th inning. He is exactly what the sport of Major League Baseball has been setting up for pitchers to be. High efficiency, lights out strikeout guys. the Garrett Crochet model, the Paul Skeens model, these other aces that have been forming. It's in the model of Tarek Skubal. And this is a guy who won the Triple Crown and Cy Young last year. He's going to really push to win it again. This is unreal. The not just the efficiency, but the ability to hit 102 in the ninth inning. That is crazy. The Tigers have been red hot. He's a big part of the reason why they're looking to take that next step as a team this year. And Tarek Skubal in general, just a really, really special pitcher that even if the Tigers were bad, would be must-see television. But the fact that he's pitching for a winning franchise makes it all the much that sweeter. Now, a not-so-winning franchise is getting their franchise icon back this weekend. Mike Trout returns to the Halos lineup. The Angels had won 7 straight games, but unfortunately had a losing streak of 5 heading into the weekend. Mike Trout returns to that version of the Angels, a team that is below 500 and back in the AL West. But Mike Trout, like I said, see these players while you have the opportunity to. I understand that Mike Trout is signed through 2030. I understand this is not the end of Mike Trout, but he's been missing a lot of time. He's been pretty much home run or bust. 180 batting average on the season, 9 home runs, 20 hits. So half of his hits are home runs. And he hasn't had more than 3 WAR since 2022. He hasn't had more than 6 WAR since 2019. And the years of 9-10 WAR are long behind Mike Trout, even in the move to right field. Mike Trout already has a Hall of Fame legacy locked up. 85.8 WAR, 1,600 hits, 387 home runs, a 297 career hitter, over 1,000 runs scored, over 972 RBIs. So he's really close to 1,000 RBIs in his career, over 200 stolen bases. Career on base 408, career slug 578, a 171 OPS plus. 3 MVPs, rookie of the year, MVP runner-up 3 times, top 5 MVP voting another 2 times. He's a legend. And I hate that it's at this point with Mike Trout. The injuries have really racked up with him. But he is essentially playing out the contract with no hope from the Angels franchise to win baseball games, with the only kind of thing to look forward to with him is, will he play enough games between now and when his contract is up in 2030 where he can get those 113 home runs he needs to be in the 500 home run club clean? I think he will. Griffey was able to get over 600 home runs despite his deterioration during his time in Cincinnati. But this was a guy that a lot of people were saying was going to go down as the greatest baseball player that ever lived, that he was going to have 3,500 hits and 600 home runs. He's going to struggle to be at 2,500. It really hurts me, but I'm so glad that he's back. I'm glad that he's going to be on the field because he needs to rack up games to have any hope of being a 500 home run hitter. And I know 113 in 5 years sounds very doable, but at the pace he's been at with missing games and the home runs per game, it's going to be really tight. I know Giancarlo Stanton was another one that was looking like a lock for 500 home runs. And now with where his contract's at, he's working his way back for the Yankees right now. He's sitting 71 home runs away. It's getting further and further when you start doing the averages of how many he has to hit a year to get there during the contract that he's going to play through. The games played really matters because those opportunities, they're dwindling towards the end of these players' careers. But make sure you check out Mike Trout back in the lineup this week for the Angels. I wish him nothing but the best. He's one of the best players I've seen play, and I really hope he gets to the Rule 2000. I really hope he gets to 500 home runs and goes into Cooperstown, first ballot, and is remembered fondly by the fans, because there's becoming a point, because like I said, since 2019, since the pre-pandemic, there's a whole new wave of baseball fans that don't know how great Mike Trout is. They didn't get to watch the young kids stealing 50 bases and competing for an MVP against a Triple Crown winner, Miguel Cabrera. They didn't get to see the 10 WAR seasons from this speedy outfielder robbing home runs and hitting for power and average. We love Mike Trout in baseball, and we need him to stay on the field and to compile the stats necessary so he doesn't look like the biggest what if in the modern sports era. Here at the Slow Shot Sports Podcast, we have to throw back down the third baseline to this day in baseball history. May 31st was honestly packed with options. As you can see on the scorecard, Jimmy Foxx hit his first major league home run on this date, and that was a huge deal. Obviously, for the sport, Jimmy Foxx, one of the game's most prolific home run hitters, 1927, hit his first career home run. There was the first rainout in professional baseball history on this date in 1869. The Red Stockings had a tune-up game against the Antioch Nine in Yellow Springs, Ohio, college team championship. It got rained out, and just really, really interesting to see that. There was obviously Ty Cobb, who hit his 275th triple on this date in 1925, which made him the first player ever with 1,000 extra base hits. Very short list there. Carl Hubble had his consecutive game winning game streak snapped at 24 on this date. Lou Gehrig played his 2,000th consecutive game, which was a huge feat at the time. The Iron Horse, who because of ALS obviously lost his streak and then was broken by the Iron Man in Cal Ripken Jr. But what really stuck out to me out of all the potential stories was something that I didn't realize had an asterisk to it. And that was on this date in 1968, Don Drysdale appeared to lose his scoreless inning streak, which is one of those all-time feats. It happened when he intentionally hit Dick Dietz with the bases loaded in the 9th inning of a game. So was pitching a shutout, bases loaded, hit Dick Dietz, and the run was scored. But the umpire said that Dietz did not try to avoid the ball, that he leaned into it. Dietz ended up having to go back to the batter's box. Drysdale retired him and went on to tie the major league record established by White Sox hurler Doc White in 1904. So it had been almost 65 years that record had stood, and Don Drysdale tied it due to this technicality by the umpire. I know there's been a lot of umpires getting called out across Major League Baseball for these defining calls and no calls in games. And, you know, the human factor really can impact the history of the game, let alone the history of a season for a team. When you lose a game in such a dramatic way, it can be really, really tough. And speaking of dramatic losses, my Boston Red Sox are the kings of that. I know they won last night against the Braves. I was very happy to see that losing streak ended, but the darkness is here. Was listening to Section 10 with Jared Carrabas, our tribal chief, talking about the state of the Red Sox, open with the phone lines, which is always a bad sign. And Jared pointed out the stat that since 1997, there had only been a handful of instances where the Red Sox had less than 30 wins 60 games of the way through the season, this being one of them. None of those seasons did they finish above 500. They finished 500 below in every single one of those seasons, which means the Red Sox are very unlikely, especially with Alex Bregman out for a couple months, to make the postseason this year. This was a team that I know a lot of people picked to win the division. A lot of people picked to win the World Series. I wasn't that gung-ho, but I thought they had done enough to take the step from third place at 500 to being second or third place with 6-7 games above 500. I thought that was very doable, especially with Garrett Crochet and Alex Bregman. Their WAR totals at the end of the year would probably be combined 6 to 10 wins. But now I'm watching a Red Sox team that doesn't give run support to Garrett Crochet. I'm watching a Red Sox team that doesn't have a first or third baseman at the corners. Rafael Devers refusing to go back to his old position or to learn first base. Christian Campbell is in a blender right now, trying to learn first base while playing second base one day, center field the next day, left field the next day, pinch hitter the next day. He came in as a defensive replacement for Marcelo Meyer and threw the ball away, which pretty much ruined that extra inning win potential against the Brewers. I understand why there's a ton of Red Sox fans screaming from the rooftops that they want to see the kids play. They want to see Campbell at second. They want to see Meyer at short. They want to see Roman Anthony in the outfield. The Red Sox aren't going to do that yet. I am in mid-baseball purgatory right now. And it is tough. It is tough because this is a team that isn't so dreadfully bad in lack of talent, where I know that, they're just lacing it up and earning draft picks and developing minor leaguers. This is a team that has some reasonable veterans, some all-stars that have the expectations to take that next step and to win. You have a World Series winning manager who, along with Rafael Devers, are the last two members of that 2018 team. You need to win baseball games in Boston. And since 2021, this team has been nothing but tough to watch. I know there's been stretches. I know that there's been fun players. I know there's been fun moments. And I ride or die. I tune in no matter how they're doing. But it's very, very sad to have to check the box score, and when they're up like they were last night, I'm like, oh, how are they going to screw this up? And they didn't. They held on to win, but based on the rest of the season sample size, 9 out of 10 times they're going to find a way to lose. And that's tough. That's really tough. I love the Boston Red Sox. I love baseball. There's plenty of stories from the big markets, the Judge and Otanis, all the way to overperforming teams that have been nice surprises. But baseball's always better when your team's in it. And the Red Sox haven't felt like they've been in it the last couple of years. And historically speaking, they don't look like they're going to be in it much this year. Not saying they can't finish third or fourth in this division and be a game or two above 500, but their chances at the playoffs, let alone a World Series run, are all but dead. And the reason why we won't see Roman Anthony anytime soon is because Rafael Devers isn't opening up the DH spot, and because he would still be eligible to win Rookie of the Year. They need to wait until at least the halfway point in the season to call him up, because otherwise he has a real shot to catch a Jacob Wilson or a Carlos Narvaez and win Rookie of the Year. Then you lose a year of control from a guy who is going to be hard to retain if he's as good as advertised. And that's not how a big market team like Boston should be proceeding. They should be putting a winner around him, where Anthony's growth into the star that he's supposed to be is a plus to an already good baseball team, not the savior that everyone's deeming him to be right now, not the face of the franchise that people are saying he will be the minute he is called up. That's not the pressure that I want on that kid. I want him to come in, be part of the team, do his job, and get better. And he needs to do that at the major league level at this point. He's destroying AAA and just doesn't have a spot on the big league roster right now for some selfish reasons, both by players on the Boston Red Sox roster as well as ownership for manipulation of control. Appreciate each and every one of you for listening to my TED Talk here. Every Solo Shot Saturday. Thank you. We're over 1,000 solo shots on the season. We cracked it this week. Really huge deal, including obviously Judge and Ohtani giving us those solo shots for the people for subscription-free baseball in that one inning. That was really awesome. I'll be back next Solo Shot Saturday with all of you. If you liked the show, make sure you like the video and subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps the show quite a bit. And share the show with a friend who loves the game of baseball as much as we do. I'm Dom Manna, and I'll see you guys next week.